Welcome to the third in this series on website design. On this one we're going to be looking at elements and attributes. Elements are everything between a start and end tag. If we have a look at this page, now what you can see I've done here, I've already saved this one as index.html. What I've done this time is I've created two folders. There's the old one, lesson 1, just simply made sure that's lowercase, and I created another one called lesson 2. And inside there I've saved these pieces of work, including W3 School's logo, which I got from their website. Again, if you're going to repeat these, you must make sure you've got the same images. And all I've done here is I've saved this as index.html in that lessons 2 folder, and I've then gone through and indented these lines. That simply means using the tab to push them in. Not use space, simply use the tab key on the left hand side of the keyboard. That's made it easier for me as a human being to see my elements, the start tag and end tags, and therefore the element that exists. For example, this is an element. This is an element defined by the HTML and end HTML, and I think it's time now we explained what the HTML tag is all about. The HTML tag tells your browser that this page that it's receiving is written in HTML. Your browser receives it, and the first thing it does is read that line and say, right, so this page has been written in HTML. That tells you that there must be other languages out there, and certainly one of the most common ones that is not in an HTML document is XHTML or XML. So you've got two different types there. XML is a very, very common format now being used. So you need to tell the browser what it's going to be reading. We're going to be using HTML. So therefore we make sure we've got the HTML tags. So even though it doesn't seem to make any use on the browser, it's an incredibly powerful thing behind the system. And inside there is what they're nested. These are called nested elements because they are nested inside another element. So HTML is a complete element, but we also have the body element here. We have the start tag body and the end tag end body, and the whole thing is called the body element. Inside that are further elements, so I'm indenting so I can see what's contained between those elements. The nice thing with Notepad++ is it recognizes it, gives me this dotted line, but I can also reduce things down so I can just see those elements in place and see what happens. The body element is so important, and again this is where people make mistakes and they need to be very careful. Everything you want to have appear on the screen has to be between the body and end body. Nowhere else. If I close down this element, you can see that there is nothing else. There are no paragraphs, no heading 1s, no images outside of my body tag. So if you want it to appear on the screen, it has to appear in the body section, the body element. If I save this page and then go to the browser, the page looks like this. The only difference between what we've here and what we've not seen before, or this and previous pages, is that I have got the heading 1 and I've got my paragraph marker, but look at this paragraph. It's slightly different. These have all got paragraph markers, and this one is a paragraph marker, but there's something different. It's where it says these are called empty tags. And let's have a look. These are called empty tags, and I have a new tag in there. This is an empty tag or an empty element. There's nothing else to it. It is simply this BR, break. It's short for line break, and it forces a new line, which gives us this drop down line here, BR, and I close it immediately, so that has nothing else to it. That is called an empty tag or an empty element. So those are elements, very, very easy to understand, very easy to get our heads around. So let's look at another page. Now again, done the same thing here. In this case we've got the HTML tags, we've got the body tag and everything sits between. I've got an H1 and a P. I'm using our anchor that we were using before. But I want to have a look at what we mean by the anchor as well and what's inside of there. The anchor simply is a hyperlink. It tells it to link whatever comes between the elements. So the element of the anchor is the one it's going to be worried about. So there's the anchor. There's the start part here, end part over here. And so the hyperlink, the piece of text that I'm going to hyperlink, is only that text there. Notice how Notepad++ is highlighting W3 schools all through. Very good for editing. It's not going to hyperlink the word website. It's not going to hyperlink all of this sentence here. It's only going to worry about this W3 schools in the center. So this is a complete element to itself just there. That's useful to know. What does the anchor element require? Well, it must be told where you want to go. href, and there you go, http w3 schools. This is called an attribute. It is a characteristic of the element, of the tag. And you need the href, but there are some that are compulsory and there are some that are optional. We've actually got all three here. And this is where Notepad++ becomes in its own, because look at the colouring. We've got blue for the tags, we've got black for normal text, we've got red for the elements. Notice also href equals, and then I've got speech marks. Unless what you're actually encasing for the target, for the attribute, unless it's already got speech marks, use speech marks. Some people will use single quotes. Try not to. Get used to using speech marks and always using speech marks. We have another attribute here, title. We've seen this before. It's a compulsory one. Title equals, and then a whole sentence related to that. Again, the speech marks. The strange thing is I've got this one here, but it's not red. So I can see straight away there's something wrong with this one, and in fact what it is I spelt it wrong. It should be that way round. As soon as I've done it, Notepad++ has told me, yes, you're correct. And this is what we call an optional attribute, and this has a new thing. This tells it not to open up in my current page that I'm on, replace my website, but open up in the blank page. And we'll see how that works in a second. So here I have three attributes, two that are compulsory, must have with the anchor tag, and one that is not compulsory. Let's save this page and let's go down to the web page. There's the page, all nicely to there. There's the text that's been hyperlinked. Notice nothing else has been, just that. If I click on that, that target equals makes it go to a new page. Just to prove that, there it is, but there's my page, still running. It's opened it up in the blank web page. I've also done the same thing to here. It's worth noting that we can use links on images. I've actually imaged this one here, ahref, title, target, everything's there, and I've used the image empty element and I've wrapped it with the anchor element, and so therefore I've hyperlinked an image, which means that I can click on that image, but it's failed. The reason why it's failed is very simple. If we have a look at the two, they look very similar, but it's this part. You do need to make sure that you tell the anchor element the kind of website it's going to, the language being used, how you are transferring the files backwards and forwards. These things you can miss out when you're a user. You can't do as a coder. It will be bad practice. So let's save this. Let's reload the page. Then I can click on that, and now we see it works. Now you will see people and websites that will say, that will just simply on these empty tags simply miss off that close. And browsers will work with that. That's because your browsers have so many things to help stop you making a mistake. It's there to error correct. The trouble is that the browser on your computer is actually quite big, takes up a lot of memory, and it can do all this error handling. But the browser on your mobile phone, The browser they're building into fridges or into televisions cannot. So if you make a mistake such as missing that off, there is a good chance that it won't simply look nasty, your website will fail to load. So get used to closing empty tags, and do get used to making sure that you go through your code, checking it for any errors, and making sure that you only put your text inside the body elements. So last thing I want to show you is this page here, or this site. This is the w3schools.com. Here I'm looking at the tag, the anchor tag, and if I scroll down I can see that I have got optional tags in here. It's showing me href in there. That's a compulsory tag, but I'm going through here and I'm having a look, and there is the target in there. And I can see that there are event attributes, standard attributes including title, and optional attributes including all of these. Notice, by the way, that I said title is compulsory, and yet it's under standard attributes. Doesn't mean they have to be there. That's because it is becoming part of the standard, and therefore you can get used to it by learning that it should be there now. If you want to know when it should show you, let's have a look at the image tag within W3 Schools. And if we look at that, we can see that there are the required attributes, these compulsory ones. You must have the alt and the src, and it's there. src, alt. The order is not absolutely essential, but there is a commonality. We generally start with the source and then the alt. But you have these optionals, you have these standards, you have these events, all of which become useful the more and more you want to do on web pages. If you ever see the word deprecated, it means it's not used now. Try not to get used to it. So if you think, oh, I'll use the align, and you see deprecated, decide, no, you won't, because it's not going to be in HTML in the future. So you don't want to start learning something that you already know is going to be rejected soon enough. It will make your life a nightmare. So that's elements, that's attributes. Hopefully that's been useful. Hopefully see you on the fourth one. Bye.